Okay. Well, today here at Becoming, we are having our cabin talk time with my husband Todd.
That's me.
And we decided, or at least I decided, that we were going to be answering a few questions. And we didn't get very many questions. So we're just going to pull out whatever we have and see how it goes. Okay. So you want to pick one up?
I'll pick it and you read it? Or do you want me to read it?
You can read it too. And I'll do one.
All right. This is, how do you encourage and help support your spouse in ministry?
Okay, now you have to answer it.
You want me to answer it first?
You can answer it first. It's supposed to be your spouse. And then the second section, and in ministry later. Okay. So do both ways.
Well, in both ways. Mm-hmm. I jokingly say that I do whatever she tells me to do. But that is supported by the happy wife, happy life, right? But how do I support her? I try and make her life easier by doing things for her as much as possible and when I can, like even pumping gas today. You know, I went with her in a separate car just to pump gas.
Look at the camera.
And see, she tells me what to do, and I do it. I'm going to look at the camera and not at her and see her response. I'll look at her response in the picture right there on my screen. All right. So anyway, I support her by trying to be helpful, showing my love to her through service. And that's kind of the way I do things in a lot of my life too, not just with her. But I try to be of service to others. And in fact, I believe that's the Jesus way. So when it comes to ministry, that's the same thing, as I try to be a servant to others. And that sometimes means doing dishes or cleaning house and vacuuming and doing all the things that traditionally men abhor. That means they don't want to do. But I do those things because that will help her to get some things done. Because when she's on a roll, you don't want to interrupt it. Because she'll never get back on the roll again. At least she's afraid she won't. And that's part of her ADHD or ADD abilities to focus or over-focus for a while and then suddenly...
You gotta get it done.
Right. And so I can't let those things get interrupted when she's on the roll.
Yeah. So, do you want me to answer that one?
Well, you want to answer that.
Well, I think
you're in charge. This is your show.
So I was thinking that what way, to share with the audience other ways that you can support your spouse. And one of the things that I think is important is in support. It's actually listening to what they are saying and incorporate their ideas as much as you can into what you would like to see. So I usually don't make any decisions without checking with Todd. And Todd will usually tell me, okay, basically whatever. As long as, unless he's really concerned about something, then he kind of like puts the brakes on and pulls me back into reality. So that's always good to have. But it's always good to make sure that both of you are happy with it. And it's not like talk the other person into seeing it your way. Just, this is why I'm seeing it this way. What do you think? I think that's more and more important. And I think that's a good way to support your relationship. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then in ministry, of course, or at home, we work together. We know what... In whatever he's doing, if he's behind something, I'll help him out. Or if I have time to, if he's stuck with something that he needs to get done, and I'll come over and help him out if I can. He wants me to be a cheerleader.
I do?
Yeah, go Todd, you're doing great. But I don't have any
cheering ability.
I used to. I can't jump high anymore.
I don't ask for cheerleading. I ask for encouragement. It's a little different than cheerleading. You don't have to go yay rah.
It's a good thing because I'm really good with those cheerleading things. Oh, I wanted to be a cheerleader when I was younger.
Like when I cook a really good meal for her, I expect her to say something like, well, that was adequate.
I never say adequate.
Okay, that was okay. That's kind of what she says sometimes. And I'm like, no, that was awesome. It was terrific.
Because it was.
But see, being an encourager means you sometimes...
I can't lie. Now, when he does a really, really good job, I say, yes, this is really good. And do it like this again next time. But
Okay.
we'll keep on going now.
We got to work on that encouragement thing.
You learn how to cook.
Remember, she's the same one who gave me roses. I gave her roses. I gave her roses.
Yeah.
And what'd you give me?
This is not that conversation.
It's the wrong color. It's the wrong color. That's what she said. It wasn't
Okay,
the right
we
color.
move on. We move on from there. Okay, what does it look like to trust God when things don't go as planned? Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think our friend Haley gave me that question, and I'm thinking, I've done all these videos basically based on that answer. So what do you want to share? Do you want me to share first since I read it? I think that'll be fair.
Do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is, I kid you not, it is hard to feel that you can trust God when things are going away, when things are just not going the way you want them to be. And a lot of it has to do with your personality. So if your personality is kind of like mine, that I really wanted to do this, there's many times I'm very, very flexible, but there are certain things I really, really would like them to go at least in a certain way. Maybe not completely, and it does cause a lot of anxiety sometimes. And you just have to step back, take a big giant step back and just pray. I think we just have to pray, take a breather, figure things out, probably let people know, hey, I need prayer because, these things are not going very well. And I think that sometimes we try to do everything ourselves, and all we do is cause more anxiety. So I think sharing with others and getting other people to pray with you and just listening quietly to see what God has to do, and sometimes just taking a step back and breather, and maybe you just need to take a little pause, because things don't always work out as planned. I mean, this cabin is one. It's a good example.
I think that you say the word breather or pause or step back. I just use the word kind of rest and know that if the plan didn't come out the way you expected it to, it's probably for a reason. There's probably a better plan that needs to take place. So just wait and start to look and say, how can I implement the plan that's better? Because apparently that wasn't God's plan.
Or
our plan is not always God's plan. So when our plan messes up, because we're not listening to God enough.
That's true. And sometimes when you create a plan, even in ministry or at home, or when the girls were little, we used to plan all these outings and an emergency would happen. I mean, there's certain things in plans that get sidetracked, but it's out of your control, right? And you have to just be flexible enough to deal with the emergency situation or whatever caused the derailing and or the detour, and figure out how to get back if that is going to continue to be your plan. Now, you can't really answer that question just by one answer, because there's a lot of situations where things are going to be different. Like when we, that one is, when we were planning on vacation and we had to change the dates, the time, where we were going, and all that, and that happens. Sometimes we want to buy a home and it didn't work out.
Sometimes we return from a wedding and our flight gets canceled.
That's
and then
true.
Our flight gets canceled again. And then gets canceled again. And then you have to spend a night in a hotel and wait for the next day. But what do? We just live through it and don't worry. And even though it costs more money because they made us buy another ticket, just relax and know that it's going to be all right. God's still going to take care of us. That's it.
Yeah, it just happens. Sometimes it's just out of our control, and sometimes it isn't. And what I used to tell the kids is that if it's under our control that we can change or work with that situation, we do it. If we can't, we leave it to God. Because sometimes God is involved, and sometimes nature, humanity, there's a lot of different things that can get in your way.
This is a long one, so you're going to have to read it. I don't have my glasses with me. This is
a long one.
Yeah,
This
is a
must
long
be
one.
my friend Jan
Small,
from Canada.
small print.
Must be Jan's. Yes, it is. So now we have my friend from Canada. Now this is more of this is a church question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not Nazarene, that may not be, it might work out. Okay, so 20% of the people do 80% of the volunteer work in church. Mm-hmm. This is true. Actually, I would even cut that 20 to sometimes 15. 15, maybe 10. What recommendations to lay people or bivocational pastors would you give them to avoid burnout when balancing ministry responsibilities, work, and relationships so that they can give their very best in all areas?
Some of the best advice I've gotten, and it doesn't always work out this way, but is to work in your strengths, because if you're working in your strengths, you'll get more done. And the advantage I have with Raqui is that she has different strengths than me, so I allow her to work in her strengths, me to work in my strengths. That way, we get a whole lot more done, and it's less stressful to both of us. If I had to do things that she likes to do, for instance, plan an event like a wedding or a graduation party or something like that, I would take a lot more time and would not be as at ease with it. So I would let her do that kind of thing. If it comes to, say, visiting a hospital or somebody that's dying, or even doing a funeral, that's something she would have me do because she doesn't do so well in those situations. So emotional, it really would wear her out. And I'm a little more level-headed and calm, and don't get as emotionally attached. So it's easier for me to do those situations. So that really helps us because we have basically a lot of variety of gifts in both directions. And there are a few things that overlap, but that helps a lot. Now, as far as working in your areas of strengths, what happens when it's just you and you have to do it? You just got to pray that the Lord will help guide and direct you. And I think one of the things is sometimes, even though we want to do everything as best as we can, we have to be able to let go and say, you know what, this is all I have time for. And it may not be an A+, it might just be a B-, but I just got to do this and say that's enough, because I can't burn myself out, overstress myself, or just sacrifice my own life or our relationship or even our God relationship just for the event or the thing that's happening, to the point that this is so important. It's not worth those things being sacrificed.
So my answer would be is that work within your resources and work within the people that you have. I think the very first thing that I would like to encourage other bivocational pastors is that you don't have to get everything done yourself. You do not want to find yourself in a position where you do not have any family time or even self-time. That is crucial for maintaining your family together, because you need to strengthen the relationship with your children, or you're going to wind up, you most likely will lose them. And then, not that they don't get lost in any other way, but that just assures it more. I've seen a lot of PKs that totally left the church, mostly because they didn't feel like there was any place for them. So just to keep that in mind. The other thing to encourage the lay leaders is that, again, you don't have to do everything yourself, but always use your gifts for Christ. I mean, that is what the Bible talks about everybody has a gift. And there are a lot of people that can provide more things than you think, but we're very particular about certain things that we want to see getting done, that we don't consider what are they willing to put into the church or in the ministry. So sometimes just ask them, what would you like to do? Where would you feel comfortable placing? And by opening the door for other people to come up with their own way of they can share, maybe you can increase your number from 20 to say 25 to 30. I think we did that in a couple of the smaller churches where we basically did a study, and we let them do their gifts, and we ask them, what would you like to participate in, and how can you give, how can you share, just let them know that the body of Christ, we all need every single person to be involved somehow, even if it's just a little tiny bit, even if it's just greeting people at the door, passing out candy. I don't know. But, once they get their niche and once they find out where they feel comfortable, they will move forward.
One of the things that happens in the parable of the talents is that when God gives you these three guys, each of them get a different amount, but when they invest in the kingdom and do stuff that it is always expanded when it's invested, but if it's buried and not used, nothing happens to it. And the reward at the end is the guys that invested the talents got more talents. The one that didn't, he got left behind and lost everything. So it really what it's telling us is use your talents for the Lord, and the gift that God gives us for using our talents for the Lord is He gives you more talents to use for the Lord. And that doesn't always make some people feel good, but just know that if you're doing things for the Lord, He'll enable you to do it right. But always include the Lord in your decision making, because that will help you to keep priorities right and keep things level and doing what's good.
Yes. And my last thing is just set an example.
Try to.
Yes, lead by example. Well, that's all we have for you today. And don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that bell.
Ding, ding.
And help us out as much as possible. Thank you, honey, for the bell sound.
Ding, ding.
And we'll see you next time at Becoming a Real Life Journey into Wholeness. God bless. Dios les bendiga. See you next time.